All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look here at Firo. And just before we do, we always look at Bitcoin. I want to thank you very much to my patron, Daniel, for requesting that I cover this here today. Thank you very much. Now, if you're new to the channel, obviously, just like to ask that you like and subscribe. Check out my patron community. We actually have a trading community where I share all of my signals, every single trade that I take, and I provide trading signals through a trading bot, Cornix, and it's a really awesome automated experience. So check that out in your own time. I have a description below if you're interested in learning more before you decide to go that route. Either way, let's take a look here at Bitcoin first. Now, first things first with Bitcoin, pretty straightforward in the sense that both days, today and yesterday, in fact, this candlestick just closed, we actually had the price close above 56,000 2 days in a row, even though it had a tremendous amount of range. We went all the way down to 53,600 and then 54,000 today. So all in all, really, really good shape here. This support channel that I drew out for my community is holding very, very strong. So it's pretty safe to say that only way we have to go from here is up. But again, we have this resistance at about 57,500. It's kind of holding the price action down. We've seen that close 3 days in a row. So it's just kind of working itself into this little channel here. And we might see an ascending wedge pattern form, just depending on how you look at it. Obviously, we could even go with that. I think we're still going to see a break to the upside, depending on how you draw that line, right? We'll see that probably before by the weekend, roughly, and I would say we'll see 60,000 by next week. Pretty safe to say that we're on track to see 64,000 in the by the end of October at least. All right, now we're here for Firo. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. First things first, we always look at support and resistance levels, and we're just going to draw the most recent high and make sure we check out that as a potential resistance. Furthermore, we want to look back here as well. We can see the price got stopped out quite a few times at about $10.07. So we'll go and go with 10.07 as well. That would be a secondary resistance level for Firo. Obviously, the highest resistance, which there's still a few in between, is going to be somewhere in the range of about $20.57. All right, so we got a lot of room for growth. Obviously, once we get past this little resistance channel, but bottom line, we got to get past that first. Now let's see what's going on here. Of course, we've had about 3 days of consolidation slash retracement, whereas the price was increasing pretty significantly before then. So if we take a look at TD sequential, we can kind of see just the natural progression here, right? You see a 1 counting all the way up to a 9. Now on day number 9, or more importantly, just the 9th candlestick, depending on how you use TD sequential, it signifies a retracement and or consolidation, because you can only increase for so long without it getting exhausted, right? So for lack of better terms, we had this exhaustive candle here on the 10th, and we've had 3 days of consolidation since then. Good news is it looks like it's kind of starting to level out, where the candle, the wicks are getting shorter and the closing point is getting a little bit lower. But the bottom line here is that is looking like we might see a slight continuation. We may see either consolidation and or 5 more days worth of retracement. Now, I'm not trying to concern you at all, because we do have some pretty good support here. As we can see, the price action stopped out here about 4 different days in a row, right around $6.95. You could even just say $7 even. So right about $7, we have a support level. Okay, so that's a good sign as well. Not only did it do that previously, but in the last couple days also too. So just keep that in mind. It's a nice little support there. So if you're to, say, buy the dip for Firo, now would be a decent time to invest, just generally speaking, because that's my favorite way of investing, is to buy the dip when you have an established support level, especially when it's an established support level in the 1-day chart. That's equally as important as any other indicator. Okay, so just something to note. Let's take a look here as well. This is also great news too. The price is still above 50 on the RSI. Therefore, we should see a bounce off of 50 there to proceed back to the upside to 70. So in most cases, when you see the price holding above 50 on the RSI, that's essentially telling us that we still have bullish convergence. Even though, yes, we've seen 3 days of consolidation slash retracement, we still just see the overall trend, in the sense that this will likely be a higher low, right? This being a higher low, we should be able to make higher highs the next time it swings back upwards. We do have a slight potential here for a bearish divergence. Now this doesn't exactly mean that when it comes and intersects essentially in a downward fashion, we're going to see the price come straight down. That doesn't always happen that way, but sometimes you can see that, of course. So that's what I want to say. Prepare yourself here in the sense that we could see a little bit more retracement. You probably want to see where the price goes for the next couple of days first to see how it bounces out that support level. But ultimately, it's definitely looking good here. I'm not super concerned with this divergence, just based on the fact that it's diverging into a support, and that's typically a good sign. Again, Might recommend waiting a day or two just to see where it happens, what goes from here. But I think, for lack of better terms, we should be closer to the bottom of this downswing for Firo just based on the support level alone. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here next at the 4-hour chart. Kind of see what we can identify here, if there's any other support and resistance zones. There is a temporary resistance here where the price got stunned out about 8 hours in a row. So $8.16 appears to be a nice little resistance there. Okay, let's just quickly confirm that here with Fibonacci retracement. And we can see that the line pretty much matches that, right? So we got this line right here. It's the 618. That pretty much tells us that, that resistance level is pretty much a valid one there. So that could be the next major resistance zone. So just bear that in mind. All right. So let's go ahead and take a quick look here at the moving averages. We are below the 50 and over the 200. That's a good sign. The 200 is more important when it comes to moving averages. So if we do end up losing the support level here, we do have the 200 working as a temporary support level or a secondary support to help perhaps keep the price action higher. All right. And that's a good sign. And I prefer to use the SMA, simple moving averages, on the 4-hour and the 1-day charts. They've worked much better for me over the last 15 years of trading. I can tell you it's really important to focus on that, because yes, the 50 is still beneficial, but using the exponential moving averages, I feel, work better on shorter time frames. Again, personal preference. Other people might disagree with me there, but that is just essentially what I've noticed for more consistency. Therefore, this tells me that we have a pretty nice little secondary support about $6.75. So we got $7 and $6.75. That's a little, basically, support channel, you could say. All right, so let's go ahead and take a quick look at the 1-hour chart and identify the Ishimoku cloud, kind of see where we're at. We're still below the cloud, so ultimately this is still considered to be a no buy zone, right? So in other words, if you're going to go long, which most people are doing, there's no reason to short into a support level, then you want to maybe consider waiting for the price to break above the cloud, get that extra confirmation, knowing that you're moving in the right direction. Because the Ishimoku cloud is a very impactful indicator. Not a lot of people use it. It's very underrated, and I think it's recommended to consider using that or adding that to your portfolio. Okay, so that's kind of what that looks like there. So simply put, if you were just kind of if you were to wait, right, let's just say the price keeps consolidating and then it breaks above the cloud here, that'd be ultimately a great place to enter, right? Not to say that now isn't a good time. This wouldn't be a terrible entry point as well, because I feel like this is a strong support. Price shouldn't go much lower, but there's still that potential that it could go lower until a support level establishes itself a little bit further, and or we break above the cloud to get that extra confirmation. Okay. Other than that, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the big picture and kind of summarize here and give you my prediction just based on what I've seen so far. Bottom line, Firo has tremendous potential, right? I mean, we can see it hit upwards of 20, almost 30? No, 25 round number. Just say 25 is its all-time high. Its all-time closing high on the 1-day candlestick is $20.54. So that even still is pretty high when you think about it, because if you were to buy on right now, you'd see a pretty significant 190% return if it was to break its previous all-time high closing day, right? Therefore, I would say this is pretty much hands down an easy recommendation to take an entry point based on the simple fact that it should take off. Now, the market capitalization on this coin, I didn't look at that. I actually usually do that, and I forgot to. But depending on its size as well, also factors in. If it's a large market capitalization coin, which I don't think it is, I think it's more mid to small cap. Comment below if it is, of course. But generally speaking, when it's a large market cap coin, those are the ones taking off right now. We got the DOTs, the BNBs, obviously previously the Solanas, the ADAs. Anything with a large market capitalization is the first thing that people invest in when the amount of capitalization comes away from Bitcoin, right? Right now, most of it's focused on Bitcoin. We look at Bitcoin dominance, it's almost 50%. Therefore, not a lot of altcoins are taking off, which is what's happening here. This isn't getting a lot of attention. But when it does, we will see a large spike, and we can tell in the past that it's done very well. And in fact, if we take a look at these dates here, we can see this 17th here is pretty easy to identify. That's the first major Bitcoin sell-off, right? Came down. But look at how hard it ramped back up the second time around. Most coins that had that second flare-up are doing very well overall, in the sense and the fact that they have a propensity of recovering quite quickly when people start selling their Bitcoin, right? So in other words, coins like this do adopt a lot of capitalization when Bitcoin sells off. We haven't seen a sell-off from Bitcoin yet. I mean, obviously, the last few months we've seen parts of that, right? But the market capitalization is too high right now to allow for coins like this to explode. I think in due time it will. So it would not be a terrible idea to, get a small bag of Firo. And if you have it already, feel free to average your position down. Because, I mean, look at this. The absolute lowest it's going to go is $4. Yes, that's about 75-80% lower than the price is at right now. That's true. But I think the odds of it going much higher is extremely high. And if nothing else, we should at least see $9 get tested in the near future. So my immediate prediction, I would say, would be, October, November, we're going to see $9 be broken. December, January, I would say somewhere in the range again between 10 and 20. I know that's a large range. It's hard to say specifically until we have some type of confirmation, but this does feel like it's one of those coins that's kind of prepped and ready to explode just because it has a very good history here. And if history repeats itself, which typically happens in cryptocurrency more often than other trading industries, then we're going to see something like this happen again. So therefore, I guess to be liberal, we could just say, $20 would be likely a good prediction for the year end. However, leading into that, it could be anywhere between 10 and 20 is my guess, right? So hopefully you found benefit from this. If so, please like and subscribe. Obviously, join my Patreon community, or at least check out the video, see if you might like that, because I do send out signals to all my community members. I average about 85% success rate. I'm not bashful at all to be able to admit that, because all the numbers speak for themselves. I share that with my community members, and we all learn and grow together, and we're all very lucrative right now. So it's awesome stuff. Check that out in your own time, but thank you so much for joining me here today. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.